Gun Sports Radio is sponsored by Love Radio Network. Welcome to Gun Sports Radio, all about shooting, hunting, self-defense, and more. Now, here are the hosts of Gun Sports Radio, Dave Stahl and Lance Pelkey.
All right, folks. Hey, welcome to Gun Sports Radio, right here on AM 1170. This segment is brought to you by Gun Range San Diego, 7853 Balboa Avenue in lovely San Diego. Go to gunrangesandiego.com, gunrangesandiego.com. They're open 10 to 10, 7 days a week, just about 365 days out of the year. There's only a few days they're not open. They're all there for you. It's the Nordstroms of gun ranges, if you ask me. I absolutely love going down there. I went and picked up my 1,000 rounds of 9mm the other day. Unbelievable. Hey, we got Michael Schwartz in the house. Who you got on for a special guest, my friend?
I have the one and only Mr. Santee himself, Rob McNellis,
right.
City Councilman for the beautiful city of Santee. Rob, are you there?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
We are excellent. How about you, sir?
Just doing well, watching a little football and enjoying a good Sunday.
There you go. So
I'll tell you. So the reason we're having Rob on is we have a very exciting announcement. Last couple weeks ago now, San Diego County gun owners put together our first round of endorsements for the 2018 election, which is right around the corner. It's going to be here and gone before we even blink.
Right.
And Rob McNellis is endorsed for his reelection in the Santee City Council. And congratulations, Rob.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's definitely an honor, and it's amazing to see how strong the true Second Amendment rights act and supporters are in San Diego County. It's just great to see all the people that are out there, and everywhere I go, somebody says, "Oh yeah, I know you," but it's typically through the San Diego gun owners rather than City Council. So I'm just so happy with everything you've been able to do, Mike, and blessed to be a part of it.
Well, Ryan, you've been a huge part of the success. You've been extremely vocal, not just sat back and kind of whispered and said, "Oh yeah, I agree with you. I'm on your side." But you've been really vocal, and especially talking with the sheriff and saying, "Hey, we really need to get past this CCW issue." Not shy at all, right?
Call it talking. I don't know if you can call it talking.
Why? Now tell me a little bit about that. You were very vocal and you were very direct and you were very persistent. Why was it important to you?
It's because it's what's right, and that's too often people will settle for what they're just told rather than standing for what's right. And I think we've had enough of that. And this is every day rights are getting eroded away, and here was an opportunity for us to say, no, come on, this is not right. You have good, upstanding, law-abiding, trained citizens that have the right to bear arms, and yet we're being told, no, sorry, you're not. That's not a good enough. Self-defense is not a good enough cause. Well, our society is getting crazier and crazier every day. And in all reality, gentlemen, as an elected official, I know how much more expensive on a daily basis or on an annual basis it's becoming to be able to afford proper law enforcement to protect and serve our citizens. And if we don't do something to help our citizens better protect themselves, or at least be able to better protect themselves, we're setting ourselves up for some real hard times in the future. And you've got to keep your eye on that.
Well said. Very well said. So you're endorsed. We're proud to endorse you. What does the endorsement mean to you?
Once again, it's just it's one of those things that just stands to my views, my values, and shows others where I stand. It's that third party recognition is always so much better than you trying to go out there and talk about yourself. It's self-serving when you go and say, "Oh, well, I'm this guy, I'm that guy." But when others recognize it and others appreciate it and endorse you, especially an organization that's got so much support like San Diego County gun owners, it's just it helps me in my campaign. It obviously helps with fundraising but even more importantly, it's helped in the last election helped a great deal with volunteers and knocking on doors and talking to other people and telling them why they should vote for me.
So, and that's how can people, if we're listening and we, people are listening and they want to help a pro Second Amendment candidate get elected, especially one as vocal and supportive as you, what can they do to help and how do they contact you?
Well, they can contact me by calling me 619-279-6162. It is early in the campaign season, and the city of Santee looks to be moving towards districts, so we don't even know what district we'll be fighting for. It'll be the first time the city of Santee's ever had this.
Talk a little bit about that, Rob. So normally it's just a general election. Everybody votes for everybody.
At large.
At large. Talk a little bit about what's going on as far as district.
Hello.
Yep, Rob.
Hello. Oh, there you go. Lost you for a sec.
That's all right. Talk a little bit about districting and what that means and what's going on.
So basically every city in the state of California is being sued by one law firm that's if you aren't already in a district situation where the city's broken up into different segments. Now, it was originally designed to in large cities like Los Angeles and the city of San Diego, where you have large numbers of minority groups that that tend to live in one area or another and didn't feel like they were being truly represented for what their needs were, and they wanted to be able to elect somebody that would better represent their needs. In a city like Santee, as small as it is, it's silly to us, but there has not been one city in the state of California that's been able to defend themselves legally against this suit. And I think it was Palmdale that lost an $8 million lawsuit trying to say it's not, this doesn't make sense for us. And
so eventually it's going to be.
We can't afford that.
Yeah, nobody wants to spend $8 million to pay an attorney to, so you guys are getting out in front of it, and eventually it's going to be four districts, and then everybody votes for the mayor. Is that how it works?
That is what we are. That's what we're going to be doing. And of course, now there's already the scuttlebutt of the next lawsuit saying that nope, your mayor needs to be one of the district elected. Or let me phrase that: there should be 5 districts, and then the council will appoint a rotational mayor. And I don't believe in that. I mean, even though I'm not the mayor, I still don't believe in that. I think that there's something to having some history and some previous knowledge of what's going on in the city and in different committees that we all individually serve on, that would preclude somebody from just going in and 1 year just all of a sudden they're the mayor and they were going to be able to handle themselves outside of citizens just electing somebody brand new, which is, once again, never happened in Santee, but I suppose it could. Then it would be the will of the people, but to just force it that way, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
So are you guys going to do 4 districts until forced to do otherwise?
Until, exactly.
Or if forced.
And the other thing is, if forced. The other issue is that you got to imagine you're setting up basically 4 separate elections, and so the cost of an election goes up exponentially. Instead of having one election for the entire city, you're going to have 4 different ones, it's really 2, I guess. Instead of 2, you're going to have you'll have 3 in one campaign or in one season. Then you're going to have 2 in another political cycle. So it's the costs for this are also not just a one-time thing of doing this. It's every election. The costs are going to be exponentially greater than they previously were.
And so when you're out and about, and you're out and about a lot, you're Mr. Santee, right?
I love being out in my community. Yes.
How often does the Second Amendment come up?
Even in Santee, I have to admit there's a lot of people that unless it's brought up, they're still afraid to talk about it. There's just that stigma of, if you are a pro Second Amendment person, you're just some kook that's that's constantly 24/7 in camo gear and drives an old pickup truck with empty beer cans in the back and a gun rack and antlers on your grill. That's certainly not the case.
Yeah, you just explained. Hey, you just explained Lance Pelkey.
I was going to say, wait, Mike Schwartz in that Buick SUV, baby.
I don't know what you just brought him to a T, right down to the antlers.
Perfect,
right
baby.
down to the antlers, yes. So it's but if I'm able to, if it comes up in conversation, it's amazing how often others will jump in. I kid you not. I'm by trade, that what I do for a living, I'm a mortgage guy. I do home loans and work for a bank. And last Friday, just so happened I'm in there taking an application at 5 o'clock at night, and the client comes in and we start talking, and he saw my patch on that I have, the San Diego County Gun Owners patch that I have mounted on a speaker in my office, and that opened the door, and all of a sudden, him and his wife just like, you saw their shoulders just drop down. They were not guarded any longer. It was like, we can have,
we're good for business.
People. Yeah.
One of us.
Exactly.
One of us.
It was one of us. They just felt comfortable in being able to talk openly.
Well, I appreciate all the support, Robin, and we're going to make sure that you get reelected. We did
thank you.
You bet. We did a quick study, and there's over 8,000 registered gun owners who are also voters in Santee. So we're going to get all of them out and active and get you elected. So thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much.
Keep doing what you do.
Thank you. Spread the word. Bye-bye. Gun Sports Radio right here on AM 1170. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, John Dillon is on the line. Only on Gun Sports Radio, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, welcome back. This is Gun Sports Radio right here on AM 1170. This segment's brought to you by Trident Gunsmithing. If you have anything that needs to be done to your gun, Trident Gunsmithing is where you need to be. TridentGunsmithing.com, TridentGunsmithing.com. Also, hopefully you never, ever need a lawyer, but if you do, Gatsky, Dillon, and Balance, LLP is your number one choice for legal assistance, especially if it comes in anything or has anything to do with guns. Go to cafirearmslaw.com, cafirearmslaw.com, or give them a call at 760-431-9501. John calls in every week, gives us good free advice, and tries to keep us out of trouble, which is a full-time job.
Yes.
John, how you doing today, bud?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Not doing too bad at all. You're not out under the weather. You don't have the flu. Everything's good.
Survived, yeah. My wife didn't, but we're good now. Finally recovered. Spent a good amount of time in a hospital.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. This flu, there are apparently 4 strains out there, and one of them is really bad.
Yeah.
But everything is okay. Everyone's healthy now. So
that's good. It took John Coleman from us, who used to be the weatherman on KUSI. He got the flu, and it took him.
It did?
I didn't realize that was flu related.
It was flu related.
Oh, gosh.
Passed away in Las Vegas at the age of 84, which is a very sad connotation. But enough of that. You're full of good news. What do you got?
Well, again, as usual, I can't really say this is good news, but it's news that people need to know about, and it's something that they can actually respond and comment on. So we're going to expand our field here and not just focus on California, but more federal-level restrictions and regulations. And what I'm going to talk about today are bump stock regulations. So the ATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, in charge of all the gun laws and regulations on federal level, they have put out a notice of proposed rulemaking to interpret the statutory definition of quote-unquote machine guns to clarify whether or not bump stocks are going to fall under this definition. So for those of you who don't know, a bump stock is a firearm accessory that you can put onto typically rifles, which allows you to fire your rifle faster than you normally would just by pulling your finger, pulling the trigger with your finger. Essentially, it uses the recoil force of the first shot to bump the gun back and then kind of bounce off of you and throw the trigger forward again to hit your finger. And it mimics automatic fire, although it actually doesn't get to the rate of fire that a machine gun really does get to.
I've never tried one of those. You ever tried one of those, John?
I haven't. I've never tried a bump stock. And we'll get into this, but bump stocks are not necessary to bump fire a gun. Essentially, if you have any semi-automatic gun, you can bump fire it. Bump firing is truly a way of handling and holding a firearm while firing that allows you to bump fire.
Yeah, I remember like 10, 15 years ago, I remember a couple of guys would do the same thing. They didn't have a bump stock, but they'd be able to do the same thing with a really sturdy rubber band.
No, you can do rubber band. You can use your belt loop on your pants. You can truly just use your finger and just hold your gun a certain way. So bump stocks really just make bump firing easier. So it's just really a manipulation of how you fire the gun, and they just make it a little bit easier to do it. So the reason we're talking about bump stocks and regulations and the possibility of them being considered machine guns is because in the Las Vegas shooting, there was at least one rifle that had a bump stock, installed on it, and they're saying that's what he was using to, do that more rapid firing that you heard on all those videos and recordings from the shooting that night. The big problem being is, this is a device that's been on the market for years. I want to say at least 5, if not going on 8 years. It's kind of a novelty item. No one's really been all for it. It's kind of one of those things it's fun for 10 seconds when you're out shooting with your friends, and then other than that, it's an ammo waster that costs money, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to control. It's not for all intents, but it's a little bit of a novelty.
A lot more ammunition, and ammunition costs money, and we all know that's a problem in California.
Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's a little bit of a novelty. It's not exactly,
Exactly, and that's what I'm meaning by all that. It's always been more of a novelty item. Everyone's known about them. ATF has known about these pump stocks, and in this notice that they've put out, they acknowledge that they've sent out multiple letters to different manufacturers and companies stating that these bump stocks are legal and they are not considered machine guns, and that's why they've been manufactured for years and bought and sold, and there just hasn't been any regulation on it because the way a bump stock works, there's still only one bullet per every pull of the trigger, and the way a machine gun is defined under the law is a weapon that shoots or is designed to shoot or can be readily restored to shoot automatically more than one shot without manual reloading by a single function of the trigger. So that means you hold the trigger down, one, pull the trigger, multiple shots. Even with a bump stock, you're pulling the trigger every single time to get one bullet. A bump stock doesn't convert a semi-automatic into a fully automatic. And truly, some of the fastest, competition shooters that are out there right now can probably shoot as fast just with their own finger as most people can shoot with a bump stock.
Hey, John,
so there's no mechanical difference that occurs.
John, I mean, really, is it me, or does it not show the ignorance of the people that are against Second Amendment rights and your gun ownership? Because for them to rail on this bump stock like as if this is the most dangerous thing that ever came down the pike, doesn't it just show kind of ignorance from their side of it because they don't really know what they're doing?
Yeah, and that's usually what happens when you get these types of reactions. It goes, 0 to 100 immediately. Everyone hears the sound or talks about how it increases the rate of fire, and they think it's so bad or mimics a machine gun. Therefore, it needs to be banned. It's just a very shallow knowledge of what's really going on and what the product is and the functioning of it. But all of this, like I said, there's the notice of proposed rulemaking because the ATF is considering, determining these bump stocks to be considered machine gun items. And so they're asking for public comment on that right now, and that ends actually January 25th. You can go on the Federal Register website. It's the application of the definition of machine gun to bump fire stocks and other similar devices. And you can actually submit a public comment. All public comments will be, accepted, and they have to put them as part of the record, and they're going to consider them, and there's a response period and all that. So truly, the people that if you've looked into this, you read a lot about it, the big problems with trying to regulate bump stocks as machine guns. This is your chance to really make your voice heard and go on and make these comments. The big problem with trying to define a bump stock as a machine gun is that these things do not change the mechanical function of a semi-automatic firearm. So you don't get one pull of the trigger and multiple shots like a machine gun is. In reality, you're just being able to press the trigger faster. And arguably, under the these proposed definitions that they're considering with terms like changing the rate of fire, you come into a big danger of also prohibiting competition triggers or different weight recoil or mainspring housings on firearms, because arguably, if you get a competition trigger versus a regular stock trigger, that will change how fast you can shoot your firearm. And if, that is going to be considered changing the rate of fire, then are we going to consider competition triggers machine guns? And there's a big slippery slope, and just with very vague definitions and wordage that they're going to use, or they're contemplating using here, that it can really be significant on the firearms industry when, most people are thinking, they want to ban bump stocks. I don't care. I don't have one. Who cares?
That attitude.
There's a bigger effect that may happen.
That attitude of, gee, it's a novelty and no serious shooter. That just really bugs me. I mean, no matter where you stand on bump stocks or what you think should happen with them, the attitude of, hey, I don't have it, therefore I'm not going to stand up for it, or I don't care if it gets banned. It really, really bothers me. But what you're saying about the triggers is that if they write the regulation broadly, and if it's too broad, to just kind of say, something along the lines of, well, if it helps you shoot faster, then we're going to ban it. That could trickle down into, aftermarket triggers. High quality triggers,
polished parts, like anything. Arguably, you can say, almost any alteration of a gun's parts can change the rate of fire of that firearm. I mean, heck, if you go to the range, every weekend for 6 months and shoot off 1,000 rounds practicing, that'll change your rate of fire. You'll just become better. There's a big danger of allowing regulations like this to go forward because, like you said, if they use broad language in these new rules, it can encompass way more than just bump stocks.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
You may think a bump stock is a stupid novelty item, but you really got to pay attention to the details here and realize that, it may not only affect bump stocks.
I know. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Hey, man, thank you very much again. Folks, all you need to do is go to www.cafirearmslaw.com, cafirearmslaw.com. Send him a question, and if he airs it on the radio, you're a star. Thanks, buddy. Good talking to you. We'll talk to you down the road. Folks, we're going to take a small break. When we come back, more Gun Sports Radio. Don't forget to go to AM 1170 The Answer for the phone app, or our website, or Facebook.com/Gunsportsradio/. Radio, right here on AM 1170, The Answer. This segment's brought to you by the good folks in Gun Range San Diego, the Nordstroms of gun ranges. Except the price isn't there. That's right. These guys will probably beat any and all prices in and around San Diego County. Hot Rod Joe Holyfield, commonly known as Hollywood, is not in today. He must have caught the bug. So Jason Stevens is calling in. In fact, he's on the line right now. Jason, how are you, sir?
Hi, nice hearing from you, Dave. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Listen to
He usually sits in the seat right here.
Yeah, I can see you sitting over there in the chair. It's just an imaginary.
Well, it's good. I definitely have the face for radio.
Yes, you do. By the way, I was down there this week. I picked up my 1,000 rounds of ammo for $200. People were totally shocked. They want to know if there was any other ammo on sale. I told them, as far as I know, it's only the 9mm, correct?
Well, it's a 9mm, and we've expanded it to also, we're selling the 223 in a case of 1,000 for $350 now as well.
How about I looked into my box because I wasn't sure what gauge shotgun I had, so I'm going to be honest and admit it.
Yeah.
Turns out it's a 12 gauge. Any deals on 12 gauge shotgun shells?
If anybody would like to purchase any bulk ammunition, we're always happy to make some kind of deal.
There you go.
With everything that's going on with, the internet sales, we're happy to fill in that gap.
Sure. Well, and not only that, you'll carry it out to the car. Thank you very much.
We sure will.
1,000 rounds of 9mm is not the lightest thing on the planet.
45 is pretty heavy duty.
Shells, that'd be
Hey, I brought a truck just in case I didn't want to take a chance. So what do you got going on down there at Gun Range San Diego?
Well, besides those sales, not a whole lot. Banging busy. It's a good day. Good day in San Diego. How about there?
Well, it's a perfect day to go shooting. The weather's a little icky, and this is a good time to grab the family and grab the gun and go.
It looks like with the new ammo laws, there's kind of two different shops, two different kinds of shops. One, they're either making it really easy for people to order ammunition and then pick it up there, or two, they're looking to stock up on ammunition so they have a nice supply so that people can come down. It sounds like Gun Range San Diego is kind of doing a little bit of both.
A little bit. We'd really prefer just to, for now at least, it's a lot easier to just kind of cut out that middleman, at least for now. Right now, we've dropped our prices down to about what you would see an online ammo price, would be last year. So you don't have to wait for it. Basically, pay what you would pay last year, and you can just take it. There's no wait.
Yeah, and it's a good idea to pick that up, as I've been saying for the last 6 months. Before it really gets hairy.
Yeah.
Starting. Coming up pretty soon.
Jason, when I was there picking up my ammo, I noticed on the back wall you had discounted ammo. And it looked like all different types of calibers. What's the deal with that?
Well, that's really that's kind of the more exotic. That's the more exotic stuff. That's, it's your safari rounds, 458 lot,
okay.
75 H&H. That's the extra big, extra fun stuff.
The loud bang stuff, right?
Right. That's the artillery pieces, yeah.
Hey, I got a question for you because I got a friend of mine coming down to see you guys. Anything new been added to the library of rentals?
We've actually just put out a CZ527 bolt action rifle. A lot of people like to come in and shoot. They want to shoot a bolt action. This is a fantastic intermediate caliber bolt action. It fires the AK caliber, 7.62 by 39. It's a very pleasant rifle to shoot.
I like that round.
Extremely accurate.
Me too.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that round. Good price point, too.
Yeah,
right. We also added a 5.7 pistol. A lot of people want to know what it feels like. It's a very unique shooting experience, and we have that for rent as well now.
Is that the FN 5.7 millimeter?
That's right, 5.7 by 28. It less recoil than a 9mm, about half as much, but it shoots like a laser.
Oh, now they tell me.
That is a very unique,
it looks cool.
Very unique sidearm.
Yeah, and it looks cool.
And it looks cool, the most important part.
Mr. Schwartz, I think you're more into the look of your weapon than you are into the functionality of your weapon. I just got this eerie feeling. I don't know what it is.
I was the kind of guy that I didn't buy the magazine for the news.
That's right. You bought it for the pictures.
For the centerfold, yeah.
Hey, at least you're honest, right? Nobody else will tell the truth.
And Jason, what do you have for optics down there?
Optics, I got tons of Vortex. I've got Loophole. Hollow Sun, red dot sights.
So a lot of people loaded up on AR-15s last year and need to start outfitting them with different optics and.
Well, speaking of outfitting, when I took this show on, I had never heard half of the vernacular that I hear today. But I guess what Lance is talking about is really hot rodding your gun by adding a laser sight and adding this and adding that.
Right.
I guess it's kind of endless what's available. For me to have you list it all, it'd take forever. But I guess pretty much what a consumer wants, you can pretty much make that happen.
That's right. AR-15s are very, very modular rifles. It's probably the most, besides maybe a Glock, probably the most modular weapon you can buy. It's sort of like, if you know anything about cars, it's kind of like buying a Honda Civic. And you and I both know half people that buy that car buy it to mod it out.
Right.
And before you know it, they've got, a $50,000-$60,000 Honda Civic with a V8 turbo. It's the same thing. Sure. You can get a very basic AR-15 for $800, $1,000, $1,200. Before you know it, it's a $4,000 rifle.
Right.
And that happens all the time.
And you love it even more.
Oh, yeah. They're very, very personalized.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen anybody hot rod a weapon and then say, I hate this thing. I've never seen one do that yet.
I can't believe you just called my AR a Honda Civic, by the way.
We can call it an Acura RSX that makes you feel better.
Hey, Jason, you could have called it a Yugo. You could have really hurt him.
Well, you know what? A Ford Pinto,
Ooh, that's even worse.
I drive a Honda Civic. I love it,
Yeah. And it's a $40,000 Honda Civic, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that. What the hey? Veronica doesn't need to know.
Oh, no.
So
power steering, what's that?
Yeah, right. Power steering, what's that? So if you got anything coming up, any events coming up that the consumers need to know about?
Well, right now we're actually thinking about setting up our next Garand Old Time event. That was my favorite event. What we do is
I remember that.
Mostly focuses on weapons from World War II. And what we did was it was like a little museum. We had all sorts of weapons, all sorts of different countries featured. It was fantastic. And we had coffee and apple pie. We had World War II style, posters everywhere. It was a great time, and we're going to do it again.
Any kind of a date, or is that still in the works?
Sorry, say that again.
Is there a date planned for that, or shall people just keep up with the website?
So right. Just keep up, and eventually we will send it out through emails and Instagram. But right now it's kind of still in the works. We're kind of just starting to set it up now. Yeah. Had
you done that before, Lance? Or you, Mike?
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, it was a very cool event. You had another similar event too that was World War II related, didn't you?
Right. Well, that was it.
That was one. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was really cool. And a Garand
among Garand we had
there's nothing cooler than a Garand. I mean, a Garand is the old World War II semi-automatic 30-06 rifle. I've actually
that's the rifle that won that war.
That won the war. We went to I went to a shooting range, an outdoor shooting range in close to Palm Desert once, and there were the whole line. There were a bunch of tricked out sniper rifles, and everybody had this optic and toy and whatever on their really cool sniper rifle. And a buddy of mine brought out an M1 Garand. And every one of those guys came down to, hey, could I try it? And they had all these modern, technologically advanced, sniper rifles. M1 Garand's very cool.
And and when you look at one of those with that metal stock, you think, oh my God, that thing's going to rip my shoulder off. It doesn't. It's awesome. Yeah. Doesn't have a lot of recoil. Extremely accurate. Even the iron sights are terrific.
Right.
Yeah, terrific.
No kidding. That's awesome.
So Garand Day is coming up pretty soon.
All right, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. Right.
Excellent. All right.
What else you got?
You know what? For now, that's about it. We're just kind of keeping up with the times. We've been extra busy. A lot of people, picking up ammo. A lot of guns, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in here the other day, and my goodness, place was just if it wasn't the range wasn't rocking, the sales department was rocking even more.
And are we still doing your specials on Mondays and Tuesdays?
That's right. We are still doing that. The free rentals on Monday. All the $10, all the basic rentals are free. On Tuesday after 5 o'clock, it's $5 to shoot.
Wow.
Yeah, that's terrific.
And girl night, you still have girls' night?
Ladies
Yeah,
night.
well, we kind of lumped it together. Now it's all inclusive. We
That's
just call
good.
we just call it Customer Appreciation Night now.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, that works out much, much better. And what kind of, for people that have just tuned in, what kind of ranges, what distance do you have?
We have 13 lanes set at 25 yards.
Okay, very good.
And how does
Digital,
that camera work? I see a bunch of people taking really cool pictures when they're shooting. How does that work? Do you guys have just one lane that has a camera?
Well, we have a special guy. He, you can sort of set up an appointment with him, and he can come out, take a picture of you shooting, dress it up, and then kind of like a really nice version of what we would do. It's like Six Flags.
I see. Yeah. Well, I seen a picture of Joe Hollywood, and I mean, whoever took the photo, I mean, you can see the flame coming out of the muzzle. I mean, it was an awesome photo.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of us have done it.
Yeah. You and your Kodak. All right. So 7 days a week, 10 to 10. You're located at 7853 Balboa Avenue. You guys will be there tonight till 10 o'clock. All kinds of fun things going on. People need to make an appointment or just show up?
No, you just show up. Very informal, very friendly. Just come on in.
All right, buddy. Hey, Jason, thank you very much, folks. Check out Jason at Gun Range San Diego. He'll take care of you like family. Thanks, buddy. Get back to work.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.
All right, we're going to take a small break. We come back, a whole lot more right here on Gun Sports Radio, AM 1170, The Answer.
AM 1170, The Answer.
Folks, welcome back. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio right here on AM 1170. I'm Dave. He is Lance.
Come on.
How you doing, Betsky?
Hey, man, we're doing terrific. I know. So good to be here. We got the Shot Coach Show coming up.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're in political season.
Yes, indeed. And then, of course, what is the 5th annual Sheila Hammond Charity Course? What is that?
That's Lance Reeder's deal. Remember you go and pay your $250 and get some great training for 4 days in beautiful Pahrump, Nevada. At the front site, great facility. I'll be there.
I'm going.
Mikey Schwartz.
Me and my wife.
There.
Oh, you guys heading out, huh? Getting in the Jeep?
Yeah, we'll probably take the other car.
I swear, I should have never let you buy that Buick. You better put a battery tender on that Jeep. You better put something on there to keep that battery charged up, because that thing's going to die.
Keep it from leaking.
5 hours in a Wrangler or whatever it takes to drive out there.
Ow.
I'm cool with it, but Laura's, we're going to take the Buick.
Yeah. Well, well, if I should give you a ride in the new 2018 Jeep Wrangler, you'll definitely trade it.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So talk to us about a little bit for folks that maybe just tuned in, San Diego County gun owners, how important that program is. You started it, 2 years ago?
Just over 2 years ago, yeah. Just over 2 years ago. We're closing in on 1,000 members, which I'm extremely happy to report. I'm extremely proud of. And we have a full calendar of events coming up in 2018.
Yeah, why should somebody join for $10 a month?
Well, I'll give you a great example. 2 weeks ago, after a bunch of research, we came out with our first round of endorsements. And these are endorsements for people who are running for city council, mayor, at the county and city level. So we get a lot of direction from a lot of great organizations as far as who to vote for on the state and federal level. But who do you vote for your own city council? And that's the guy or girl or woman that's going to move up to Sacramento, Washington, D.C. So we do the research for you.
Because they don't have any money to really promote themselves like they do at the White House and stuff. You know what I mean?
The city council.
Yeah,
right.
Well, it takes a lot of money to get the word out. I mean...
Yeah. Well, but not only that, but before San Diego County gun owners, nobody was really asking them the Second Amendment question.
Really?
They'd ask them about potholes and all that's very important. But there isn't a lot of Second Amendment voting when it comes to city councils. So they'd kind of, and a lot of them would kind of try to sidestep it. Well, I'm just running for city council. That doesn't really, blah, 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 blah. But what happens is, for example, a real good local example is Darrell Issa decided not to run for Congress again for re-election. And there are a lot of people in his district that would probably make really good congressmen. But who are the front runners? Well, there are people that are already held office. Diane Harkey on the Board of Equalization. Rocky Chavez, who's the local assembly up there. So immediately they look for people who've already had people vote for them, who've already won an election, already hold office, that sort of thing. So, and Rocky started out on a city council. And so that's my response when they say, "Hey, I'm just running for city council." That's got nothing to do with Second Amendment. Yeah, that's fine, but everybody starts somewhere. So I want to know, when you get real ambitious after you serve for a couple years in the city council and you want to move up to, whatever county board or Congress or assembly or state senate, we want to know now where you stand on the Second Amendment. We're not going to just wait because if you wait, it's already too late.
Yeah, if you get that infatuation for rubber chicken, we want to know what your Second Amendment right is. Because, you're right. Because once they slip through the cracks and they get in and they're against Second Amendments, we're done. It's too late. They're
in the system.
And we're done.
Yeah, we're the city council are there's two things. They're kind of the farm league, just like baseball, where you got the people kind of working their way up. But they're also the power, the workhorse, I should say, of politics in San Diego. So all these people that are running for higher office, Congress or whatever, the first thing they do is they go surround themselves with all these city council members and say, "Hey, help me win, help me get elected." And we want all of them to say, "Well, where do you stand on the Second Amendment before I help you?"
Well, like you said, before nobody was asking that question.
Right. So we just came out with our first round. You can find it on our website, SanDiegoCountyGunOwners.com, and we're going to promote the heck out of them as the months go by. But we just came out with our first round, and the first round of endorsement. They're kind of I say they're kind of the no-brainers. There are people that are in office already. There are people that are already doing what we need to. We just talked to Rob McNellis today. That's somebody that's a no-brainer. I don't care what happens, who an opponent is.
Guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? That guy's, really stuck it out there. And so there's a couple of people to really pay attention to is Chris Cate in Council District, that's in San Diego, John McCann down in Chula Vista, the mayor of El Cajon, Bill Wells. Fantastic on the Second Amendment. He's running for re-election.
Yeah.
And then there are actually three people in Escondido, the mayor, Sam Abed, John Masson, and Ed Gallo. All three of those guys really deserve support from the Second Amendment community. And all of them are running tough races.
How hard is it going to be to get the quiet majority? And that's what I call them. Because Second Amendment folks, we just kind of sit in the back. We don't say nothing. In fact, we kind of don't even want to let people know that we even are into Second Amendment / gun ownership. What is it going to take to get them to come out of the shadows and have a voice?
Well, that's a good question. I think that a couple of things will help with that. One is to have an organization like ours make it easy. If you're asking a volunteer to think up an idea and then implement the idea and then do the idea, what we can do is put together a neighborhood walk and say, "Hey, we have it all organized. All you got to do is show up and give us a couple hours on a Saturday."
Just let them know they're not alone with their cause, because there is a large group of folks. Every time you've done a press event, it's been well attended.
Yeah, it really has. And I think that the more people do it, the more people, come out and support a candidate and they realize, this isn't hard and it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
The more they'll be willing to do it in the future, because the other side's doing it all day long.
Oh man, big time.
And they have, huge payrolls. Like, the SEIU is a labor union, and if they need 36 people to show up and cause a ruckus, boom,
just make a phone call.
It happens, and a lot of them are on the payroll, a lot of them are getting paid, that sort of thing.
Big payroll.
If the Second Amendment means as much to you as it means to me, then a couple hours here, a couple hours there over the course of a year is nothing. It's fun, it's easy.
Yeah. And by the way, just totally off the subject, but a little bit, Tierra del Sol, which is the biggest off-road club in town. We just won a lawsuit Costs us $70,000, but we won a lawsuit to keep the trails open out at the Salton Sea and the Borrego area.
I read a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's no different than the gun community. Right. You know, the government is doing everything humanly possible. They can't find that lost lizard. He's out there someplace, so they finally had to give up the ghost. And now, you know, that's open. And that's the same thing. When you're passionate, whether it be guns or off-road, whatever it may be, and there's groups that are fighting for you, you got to fight for them, too.
Well, history's made by those who show up.
That's right.
And that's what we're trying to do, is make it easy for people to show up, you know, meet other gun folks, have fun, and support good candidates. Yeah. The day that a candidate realizes, or that candidates, I should say, in California realize that, hey, you know, we can fund and we can get people elected, right, and we can do all the day they realize that, that's the day we get our gun rights back.
And don't do it for yourself. Do it for your kids.
There you go.
Do it for your kids' because, you know, you get to a point in life where you go, well, you know, I can't make an impact. You know, I mean, I'm X years old. You know, no, that's not the case at all. You need to, and we need to keep fighting the fight and fight, if, like I said, if not for your kids, but your kids' kids.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's, you know, we do the research. We're your voice in the media. You know, we're your voice when it comes to talking to elected officials. All the things that you think elected officials should be doing when it comes to the Second Amendment. We go out there and make sure it happens. So, you know, everybody has a life. You know, they have family, they have work, they have kids, they have parents, they have all kinds of things going on in their life. So, you know, we do that work for you. And it's just, we're just asking for $10 a month.
$10 a month. And hey, there's no NFL in San Diego, so there's no excuse.
Yeah, less than a box of ammo.
Yeah, less than a box. Hey, you can't buy lunch for one person for $10.
Plus, you have great events.
We do have great events. The next one is we're going to announce our Second Amendment celebration dinner. That's going to look for that announcement. But we're also on March 17th, which is the same day as the Crossroads of the West gun show. We're going to have our Second Amendment. It's actually a California Gun Law Convention. Yeah. And our keynote speaker is A.W.R. Hawkins. He is a Second Amendment columnist, nationally known and
terrific,
and published Second Amendment columnist. And then we're going to have two panels: a legal panel full of attorneys, Second Amendment attorneys, and we're going to have an activist panel. And we're going to have names like Craig DeLuz from Firearms Policy Coalition, Jason Davis, he's a Second Amendment attorney, and it's going to be a lot of good information, a lot of good discussion. And we're looking at this is going to be hundreds of people, and it's only $20.
You going to have John Dillon?
John Dillon's going to be there, absolutely. He's one of our Second Amendment attorneys from Gatsky, Dillon, and Balance. And like I said, it's a lot of really good information and a lot of really good community building.
And who do we have next week for a political person?
Summer Stephan. She's the
great,
the district attorney.
Yep.
We're gonna interview her. She's one of our endorsed candidates running in 2018.
All right, folks. Well, hey, hope you've enjoyed this show as much as we've enjoyed giving it to you. Try to spread the word. San Diego County gun owners, you need to join. And don't forget Gun Sports Radio. You can catch us on the KCBQ app, download it on your computer, or even watch it on iHeart. And every weekend we will bring you the best news out there when it comes to your Second Amendment rights. All right, folks, be safe. We'll talk to you down the road.
Gun Sports Radio is sponsored by Love Radio Network.